It's 7 o'clock. We will get the meeting underway. Thank you, everybody, for coming out on this absolutely wonderful summer/fall. First off, I just would like to welcome our new to-be Deputy Clerk Ella. Welcome. Thank you. We'll be easy on you like we were with Denny. And I want to officially congratulate Adam on becoming our new CAO. Thank you. So to begin, 4.1. I have a motion here. I have a motion here dated October 2nd, 2023, moved by Jill Herdman, seconded by seconded by Gord. That the minutes be adopted, the special events committee. Everyone has a copy of the minutes attached to the package. If there's any errors or omissions, please let us know.
I just have one. I was absent.
So noted. If nothing else, can I get an adoption of the minutes? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Business arising from the previous minutes. 5.1 trivia night. Our first trivia night is quickly approaching. It is October 14th, Kamaki Community Center. I see our posters are out, our core plus signs are out. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing that. There will be an ad going in the paper this week for the trivia night. And the only other thing I'd like to say on the advertising portion of it would be, we did kind of allot some money. Alex, if you want to do like a Facebook post. 35, 40 bucks, I think is what we've normally been doing. It's been working. I can send you what actually went in the paper if you want. It's not bad, so okay.
Given that we don't have a lot of reservations yet, should we do the Facebook post sooner rather than later, or do you want to do it closer to the event, or?
We're pretty much already
Yeah.
in 2 weeks there, so I'll probably.
It's only this week, next
Yeah.
week. Well,
Yeah, I'll probably do it tomorrow.
I just find that typically there's not a lot of rush in Wyoming for tickets for stuff, I guess, past experience. So definitely, I think next week, this week and next week, we'll be picking up on that.
Any two we have so far.
2 at 8 people each.
That's for the Chem action.
Can like you. Yeah. And the reservations are only until October 10th. And then after that, it's take a chance, which is fine too, but yeah.
Regarding food, we did toss around the idea of a couple different things, and one of the things that actually I had talked to Connor Weed about is if we could, if interested, if we could borrow their popcorn machine. After they had a meeting at the Legion, we are more than welcome to use it. So which, crash course and making popcorn on that machine. So that is available if we do.
The other thing we might want is either containers from the dollar store for people to put popcorn in, or something.
The paper bags are.
Yeah, do we
boxes
still
are.
have a lot of those paper bags left from that beaver craft? Because we could use those.
I would imagine so.
We could just set the lunch bags beside and then just scoop it in there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so
it's just kind of self-serve and people can help themselves, and it's food.
self-serve, or should one of us be there to help
Right.
man it?
I think one should just monitor it maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mr. Chair, I do know that they use that at the fair for the comedy night, Yuck Yucks, and they had one of their own people there because there still needs some adjustment on the machine. So they know how to hold it. So, and plus they kind of taken care of the whole thing. So whether one of our people do it or if they will have somebody come with them.
Okay.
You want to check with Connor on that?
Yep, I can do that for sure, thanks.
I think Mike Searson was the one that did it.
Okay. All right, I will reach out to Connor and just clarify that with him, but thank you. Incremental machine, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not really too concerned, I guess, about the lack of interest right now, because this time last year when we were getting ready for our first night, we had no clue what we were getting up until about 10 minutes before the show was to start, and then the bus arrived and there we went, so I think. What else were we planning on food? Pretzels, chips, are we getting anything like that? Or-
So we could get boxes of chips from Costco again. We could also. Grandma's candy store isn't able to come in for the event. She did offer to put together some candy bags if we want to sell them. Which we could do. I don't know if we would have to keep the leftovers or if she would buy them back from us. If we want to do something like that, I can approach her. I imagine she would probably buy them back from us if we didn't sell them, but
Might be a risk too, because someone might dabble in it and then, I don't know. I don't know how that would work, but we would have to buy them from her and then we'd resell them.
yeah.
You can ask her, I guess, Melissa, just kind of ask her.
I mean, we could just do the popcorn and chips and leave it at that because
Pretzels.
everything. Everything
Get little
was free.
pretzels. I'm thinking something salty for.
Yeah, I mean, we can, like Costco has just massive bags of pretzels too. We could just buy 1 or 2 bags of pretzels.
I think we should do that just to increase the partaking of the bar. maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is, the Legion they just sell bags of chips when you're there as well. We could just buy some bags of chips and resell them for, like, unfortunately, a bag of chips now is like $5 for a bag of chips. So we could buy like large bags of chips and just sell large bags at the same cost that it would be.
I'm fine with that. We have enough money.
Are you just talking about Kamalaki or Wyoming as well in there, Brad?
Right now, just Kamlaki, but it'll probably kind of flow over to.
Yeah, if you go to the Legion, I'm not sure what their policy is about selling. If they're selling, you may want to check and see what their policy is on that.
Yeah, so the last time the Legion was willing to do food and we left it in their hands. But because Kamlaki doesn't want to offer food, we need to offer some type of food to have there.
Makes sense.
So I think for Wyoming, we'll leave it with the Legion as long as they're willing to offer something, but for Kamlaki, we have to have.
The only thing I last heard was because it's Remembrance Day,
Oh,
they may not want to offer food, so
Oh,
I think
hot- the
Connor's
hot-
don't
hot
wanna wait
food.
on that one. We'll tackle that one, maybe with another message down the road. Find out where their staff is at with that.
So I mean, I can just get some big bags of chips and people can. Or we can go with the small bags again, because then nobody's reaching their hands into anybody else's bags. Everyone just kind of grabs what they want.
I don't think the health unit will like the big bags, everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we can get maybe like 4 or 5 bags of the big things, pretzels, then put them in bowls or something.
Yeah, I can see too. Maybe I can get pretzels and some. Let me take a look and I'll see what I can find. And then maybe if we can do a motion though to spend, I don't know, maybe $50-$75 on that kind of stuff. Because we'll need to buy probably the popcorn for the machine as well as the chips and that sort of stuff. So we'll have some expenses there.
Denny, did we not put a general motion for expenditures last time of $1,000 so that's your budget? And that covered the expenditure to the. Right, that covered the back to the Kamlaki or the Optimist? Yeah, that was separate. That was separate. Motions, okay. So, yeah, we don't really need a separate motion list on that.
Fine, then, as long as, and then I'll look at the cost this week and I'll send it around to everyone so that we're all on the same page.
Perfect. Yeah, that will work. We probably should have a subcommittee meeting just before the event, just to kind of go back to the things, I think. Okay, we'll figure that one out later then. Does anyone else have anything that they want to talk about for that event? I myself don't have anything else that I guess requires attention right now on that. We have food, we have. I'll reach out probably back to the treasurer about. Whether it's gonna be the 300 or the 330, right? Depending on the people that come. And we're doing casual. Did we get a float?
Not yet.
No, did we last year?
Yes.
We did get a float. Okay,
Yes.
So we should arrange that with.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess the only concern that I have is regarding the reservations. And our kind of new rules in place. Not that I think it's a big deal, but if anybody hears any backlash about, well, last year we just, kind of thing. These are all just strictly living through it and learning from it. And to make things, just kind of flow a little bit easier. Then. I mean, they're not difficult rules or anything like that. They're just kind of common sense, but last year we didn't have anything. So. This year we've got a few.
Are the Optimists doing the bar?
Yes.
But we'll be selling the chips, not everything like that then.
Well, we gave them away for free last time.
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna do this time. Okay.
Out there at Kamaki Gorge, do they have that sign at the road that we could put something on again for advertising out there, or I haven't been out that way for a while, or is it full?
I can find out if,
Okay.
I've been speaking to Bruce from Molten, so.
Yeah, I think they have a bingo night on there, but I can't remember when it was.
Can I leave that with you, Gord, just to double
Yeah,
check?
I'll check that out.
The posters that went out, did you guys feel you need any more, or are we good?
I've got 2 left in my car. And that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I put
Perfect.
them all over the place that I could.
Okay, perfect. No, that's good.
Is everyone planning on attending both of them or? I can't come to Wyoming, but I'll be at Kamlaki.
I can't go.
First, second, third prizes, we're purchasing gift cards and stuff. Have anyone looked at that just yet or not just yet?
We were doing cash,
Whether
for second and third,
Cash?
and I'm buying the door prizes on Friday when it's my day off.
I do have some door prizes for Wyoming.
Okay.
I have 2.
Discussion last time that door prizes would be, thank you.
Door prizes are going. Get
Yeah.
those on Friday.
First, second, and third was cash. Okay.
Yeah, 75, 50 and 25.
Probably in a minute.
Prob-
If no one has anything else for the Kamlaki one, we can switch over to the Legion one. Yeah, well, the October 14th one, we're gonna keep kind of Halloween themed. The Legion one will just be strictly a standard one with some nods to history in that one because of Remembrance Day. I'll reach out again to Connor regarding the scenario with the food there, and if they just say, go ahead and do what you guys want, then maybe we'll do the same scenario as we're gonna do then for Kamlaki with chips and
Yeah,
pretzels and stuff like that.
yeah, that's fine. I imagine Connor won't get back to us this week, so we'll probably just buy what we need for Kamlaki. And then we can always get more for Wyoming if needed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we really haven't honestly talked a lot about their Legion one yet, so do you wanna Any questions on that one right now that we should address? Did we set, Danny, do you remember, did we set the budget for that one as well? We did, 1,000.
1,000 for both, and then you set the donation back to Huron Shores Optimist and the Legion at the last meeting.
Both, okay. It'll pretty much be a carbon copy. Ideas then really from one to the other. Anyone else have anything on trivia nights in general? Oh, okay, moving on, 5.2, Christmas in the Village. Alex, I just want to say your notes are phenomenal. They're really nice. They really are nice. So the subcommittee had a group discussion with every other group, September 18th in the fire hall. There was Lions, recommendation by Daisy, the fire department by Brian Spear, the Legion, Connor Weed, the Egg Society by Loren Armstrong, Masons by Wilbur Shand, and Courtney Vasey was there as well to give us some input. There was a few things on the agenda that we wanted to know. One was, we just introduced ourselves. The second one is just because the events committee was brought on the last couple of weeks last year to kind of see how things were gonna go and how we would eventually step in to kind of make it our layer on it for this year. So we had to know, I guess, to be honest, I wanted to know what every group did. There was some feedback I remember from last year I made notes on. So we gave the group our impressions. And then I went around the table again and asked everybody there what they would like to add to it. So it really went well. There was an awful lot of participation from every single group. They all agree that they want to get bigger and better with the event. And whether next year, this year will be the last year at the Lions, we're not sure. It might continue a bit longer. It might be moved to McKay Park. We're not sure. We're hoping that eventually the event will get big enough that we do have to go to the park. But there'll be a few things there that would have to be discussed down the road. One of the things for the Lionesses, they're going to be having a craft sale during the day at the Lions Hall and the Legion. And right now there's approximately 45 vendors. And during the Christmas in the Village event, they're going to be leading a craft station inside the Lions Hall. From the Legion's perspective, they're going to provide hot chocolate, popcorn at the event. They will also be having a pancake breakfast with Santa on Sunday at 10 a.m. this year. The fire department will be looking after the fire pits. They will be directing traffic on Broadway for the street closure for the tree lighting. We're hoping to have, last year, I think we had 3 to 4 fire pits. This year, we're hoping to have 6 to 8. And Mike Vasey is going to inquire about some bench seating at the fire pits, which is one of the comments we had last year. The Egg Society will probably be donating the wagon ride again, and the whole group kind of agreed that we need more than one. So I have reached out to Claire Jardine. He is available for the event and he is 800. And so I tentatively booked him until discussion tonight. And I tentatively booked, I believe it's Dave Hume from Watford for the carriage as well for the same time and date, and he is 600. But they really felt that there was a lot of people that were unavailable on the wagons because the lines were too long. There were some breakdowns in the one unit. Some people just wanted to go again, so we're looking at having 2 anyway. Masons, they may be interested in contributing towards the extra cost for the wagon rides, but they're also looking into providing crayons and craft stuff again this year. I kind of got the impression that they totally didn't have a lot of input last year, but they would like to have more input, is what Wilbur said this year. So the sooner we can kind of get a letter from the town as to how it all worked, because I don't really have a clue on how that worked on the town's behalf. They're gonna call a special meeting, I guess, to discuss what they can do. We had asked, or we're going to ask Beth Hackett about some donations for the kids this year. And Mike Vasey was to approach her to ask that.
He let me know that she will be giving us a check for candy for Santa. Yikes. So I'll pick that up. I'll talk to her, arrange for it, so.
And the town will be providing candles and bells, the letterbox for Santa and his chair. And I think we felt there needed to be way more candles this year, so I don't know, Denny, whether you were ever successful in finding out where they were purchased.
Amazon.
I was gonna say, my guess would be Amazon, okay?
I can go get them to show you how many we have.
So we did run out last year.
Some were kind of broken.
Yeah. We weren't sure how many people were going to show up, and we tried to kind of limit them to a couple per family, but we were short both candles and bells.
There's a box of bells and there's a box of candles, but again, I don't know how many you anticipate you'll want.
I would say double.
But what, do you know what you had last year?
I just know there was a big box that was plunked on the table and it went like hotcakes.
Yeah, well, we can count how many are in the box and see what our options are. We are still a little further out, so we might be able to find something cheaper than it's run of the mill Amazon, but we might not be able to.
So there's some of the impressions that the events committee, I guess, presented to them. Is one thing that we felt, I guess, is there needed to be way more signage than what there was. Some people already knew kind of what was going on because they've been there previously, and some newer people had absolutely no idea that you could go back and do s'mores, or you go back and get a hot dog or stuff like that. So we kind of identified 12 things of signage easily, but that's still to be determined. We felt that in general, it did not feel Christmassy whatsoever, other than they were selling Christmas trees there. So as a committee, I think we have to get together and, since we have money in our budget, purchase some holiday decorations and lights, and then the Lions piped up and thought that they might also like to contribute to decorations and lights. So again, these are just ongoing discussions with that whole group. But we need to definitely improve the overall ambience of the event. And I think we tentatively set November 25th as a setup day for, right?
Yeah, they're kind of in stages, but the first decoration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so it's up long before the event, I guess.
Just to help advertise too.
Yeah.
People will see it.
And one of the things the events tent thought that they would offer would be some hot apple cider. That's all that we had, is those 3 different items for impression. We need to make some changes, but we as a events committee wants to do is step on everybody else's kind of ideas, because at the end of the day, I don't want it to be one person's event or one committee's event. It will eventually be a complete town event. And I believe that in the 2023 events, the Legion is actually going to really get the town involved by, at this point anyway, by having a looking for it, like a lighting contest in the town with some fairly decent prize money. they're going to be taking the reins on that one.
We're also talking about organizing the tractor parade as well.
Yeah, I forget how many that could be coming, but that is still way in the works, the lighted tractor. Deal, but apparently they have a route tentatively set out. But they're kind of working it amongst all the details amongst themselves, and then they'll come back to the whole group and kind of say how it's coming about, I guess. One of the things that will not be available to us this year would be the Victorian Choir. So I had scouted around for some different ideas, and actually I had a really decent call with the music department at LCCVI. They're extremely interested. They have to take it back obviously to a few members because they're doing a couple parades before. But they're actually are very interested, and I said, I'm sure for a donation, we could entice them to come out, so. It's always nicer to have live music as opposed to just maybe some public domain music playing. So that's in the works.
Is that the choir or the band?
And probably stage or concert or combination of both. I said where I probably would put them, which would be on the ledge up there, the steps, there's not a lot of room, but. I said, and it probably would be for an hour because being outside with a brass instrument against your lips would not be too good in December. So, but Jessica McKay, the leader there, she is very, very interested. So we'll see where that goes. Sound system we thought was needed, so the Legion is going to be providing that, so we can hear the speech from the mayor as well as Santa Claus.
I also sent out letters to the 3 schools, to Wyoming Public, Holy Rosary, and John Knox. Saying that we would love to have some little voices there if they wanted to. They don't have to put together a choir, but seeing that they're gonna be getting ready for their Christmas pageants and whatever, to invite the kids out. Maybe put together a couple of songs kind of thing. I'll send another letter closer to it, because this was right at the beginning of school, so it was really just to kind of put it out there that we were looking, so,
I'm on school council in Wyoming Public. I can bring it up at our next meeting.
okay.
It's next week.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, that's good.
because we don't need a whole choir, but, and plus the kids will be there anyway. We'll encourage more kids to be there, their parents and stuff, and so if, if they've got. Each school's just got a couple of songs that they want to get up there and sing kind of thing, that'll be fun.
Yeah, that would definitely be nice. And then the last thing, Courtney Vasey was there and she talked about leading local makers and at a vendor market at the event. She's kind of taken the reins on that one. She said that there might be anywhere from 5 to 12 that are interested, but she's still working on getting us the details. So when the event was over, we decided that we were going to send every group in that discussion that night a logo that we come up with so that we can all kind of be uniform in our marketing for this event, as well as a letter. And Mike, I sent you all that stuff. Did you ever get around yet to sending all that out to all the groups? Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Was someone drafting up a letter for Courtney to send to?
Well, that's what I see
Yes.
here, but
She's got. I sent her one. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, great.
so that really successful meeting actually was everyone was very enthusiastic, I will say. So we probably will have a couple more just so we know where everyone stands before the day gets here, because like everything else, it's to be here before we know it.
Have you contacted me about a night market yet? I know we had talked about.
Courtney, right?
Yeah, but I didn't know if you would already.
Not really, that's,
It's a little different.
yeah, what Courtney has in mind is small businesses, especially like home-based businesses in Wyoming. Like McGrail Signs and there's a few others. And them to come out and they can be selling, but it's really just more exposure. So for people to walk around and say, I didn't know this was in Wyoming kind of thing. Maybe place some orders or something, like, so. It's not crafty or, that kind of thing. At least that was
Yeah.
kind of what I came.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just
More of an
kind of,
exposure event.
yeah, businesses that are in Wyoming that are kind of under the wire, so.
It sounded like there was gonna be some, like, artisan crafts, but not necessarily like Norwex and Tupperware and like. that
No,
kind of stuff,
no, it
yeah.
wasn't anything like
It was more
that,
like
so.
Local,
Yeah, they're at, I think all she's interested in is getting, like, if they do that, they're an actual business, so they probably sell wholesale and, that kind of thing too, so.
Yeah, Brenda, you're, feel free to go ahead and pursue your interest in the thing that you were talking about to us last time. That's definitely,
I didn't really want to do like a vendor night market. I like her idea of doing like local or small businesses.
Alex might be able to give you
So,
that info
I
and
didn't see it until I read the minutes that you brought up. So if you want, I can connect you with Courtney, or I can.
just because she might want some help, or there might be a different view you can take on it too, or a different contact that you have to.
She's actually leaving it to them too for their setup, if they need electricity and stuff, that they have to get their own generator and everything, so.
Where are they
No.
doing it?
Well, are they doing it between Lions Hall and Broadway Street? Is that?
yeah, I think one
Up
of the
by
things
their
that
little
we
base.
discussed was basically having, and you probably need a motion tonight, was to have that portion of Main Street closed between Broadway and the First Street there, just for that event.
London Street.
London Street, yeah.
So what also, Brenda, what about, oh, we're still thinking about the kids shopping thing, because that could be done also inside the Lions Hall, because there is room if you wanted it.
I had thought about it. I had received literature in the mail last week, I believe. And originally my thought was the donations would go to Christmas for everyone, which is what I thought Mike Vasey really wanted. But I'm pretty sure that it said all donations had to be in by November 25th. Is that right?
Yeah, I can double check, because I'm trying to remember when we deliver the hampers. I think it might be the first or second week of December.
I'm sure that the literature said you had to have all your donations in for Christmas in the village by November 25th. So then,
But I mean, realistically, the money would just go in their fund for the next year. Like it would just stay in the Christmas for
I'd assume
Everyone
so.
fund.
I'd assume so.
It would go to helping out the year after. Or if they had any last minute expenses, like they're not going to turn down donations.
Yeah, they're not gonna turn away anything.
Because
so.
they were talking about offering like us, a Square POS system to do donations that night as well. So I mean, that money's gotta go somewhere. It'll either go into their fund for next year or it'll cover off.
The gift donation deadline is November 25th.
Yeah, because we delivered hamper.
Gifts or cash?
I think it says cash too.
We do that with the tax bills. I must have gotten the mail too.
Good one.
Yeah, I think that's probably because they want, the fire departments get the hampers like the first week of December, and then we deliver them.
Yeah. I imagine it would just like, it would still work. It would just go to next year's Christmas for Everyone, which isn't a big deal. I mean, it's not like the program's gonna go away.
Because I do think Mike actually brought up that he wants more exposure for bringing cans, so.
Yeah, for Angela and
Probably still, there's probably still an opportunity, because Mike wanted to make sure we really amplified bringing canned food.
Cause he was gonna get back to us too with a list of what is most needed as well for canned food so that we could provide examples. maybe we should circle back with Mike on that one and just make sure that if we have a lot of people bringing in stuff that close to it, that they'll still be able to kind of get it to where it needs to go. Especially with canned food.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of, there's time for discussion for the Christmas in the Village, but, there's lots of planning still to do for sure. Nothing else, we can kind of move on.
I was just curious, the carriage rides, where do they go? Do they just like,
I've never been on one. I believe, I don't think they cross the tracks. I think they just go around a designated area, but I couldn't even tell you.
What's this for, Brad? The which? The, I
Just where Claire had taken his horses last year.
think they cross over.
Did they?
Way,
Okay.
and then they go down, but they don't go south of the tracks.
No, we don't go over the
They
track.
stay up in the north, and I think they go maybe up by the pool street.
Okay.
And then come back up. And then cross again and then come around back up London.
And that was part of the conversation too, is if we want them to have two different routes to go on, different carriage rides to kind of get a different city, or if they all just do the same thing and.
Well, I think we thought one time, one to the north, one to the south, but I have to find out whether they would want to cross the tracks. I don't know.
I think a lot depends on whether the critters would want to cross the tracks either. Probably they'll want to stay off them.
I can see that, you know,
So this gentleman from Watford, does he have a wagon or a carriage?
carriage.
So he won't carry as many as what?
Not as what Claire has, but he can carry 12. It's a pretty
Still a
decent
lot.
sized carriage, yeah.
If you're gonna close the street, I think, is that not normally where they pick up? Like, do they not come down the street?
They do, so we'll have to have like the barricades just off to the north side, I think, is where the Courtney was thinking of doing her thing there, and then the pickup and all that would be along the south side of that street there, I think.
Out in front of the Lions Hall was where it's been in the past, so
Yeah.
people, if it's windy or whatever, they're back in the building. You get out on.
So I think we're trying to keep that the same right now.
that area where we're gonna close the street, there is one residence that I think it would affect. How does that work?
Actually, there's two, I think there's the apartment building.
But they park on Toronto or on
London.
London,
Right.
right? I don't know that anybody, there's no driveways.
No, and even Sybil on the corner, she parks back on around the corner. So it's just avoid the churches.
Yeah.
The churches, yeah.
So should a letter be drafted closer to the time then to let them?
Probably would be good PR work to inform them that that's gonna be taking. place.
I know them. I know the couple, so I'll let them know.
And also too,
Part of the grocery store.
just as an FYI, the request would have to come to council to have that. road closed off.
Because they're a committee of council. I don't think that's necessary.
Sure.
Because under the streets bylaw, we have that done for third parties who are not part of the town,
Okay,
but as they're part of the corporation.
maybe we should just let the public.
No, for sure, we would send out a public notice.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Okay, anything else for Christmas in the Village at this time? Nope. Moving on, reports number 6.1. So Danny, just a question for you. How would you like me to read that motion since nothing's filled in yet? Do we discuss it first? That's kind of.
You can read it as a blank.
Okay,
Kind of to be determined.
even the first and seconder though? Even with the first and seconder?
So you'll just ask the the mover and the seconder if they're okay with whatever the proposal is.
Okay. So what this is in regards to is for the Special Events Committee budget request for next year. Last year, I guess it's still this year, we had requested 7,500. And that was up from 5,000 when we initially started. So I guess. Yeah, I guess we need to talk about. What we're going to ask for as a committee for next year. I don't want to start. There's no financials in this, is there? No.
It's hard to know without our financials. I mean, what we had from the town versus what we were able to solicit donations for and how likely we think we are to be able to solicit the same level of donations. I know we tried for a lot of different larger corporations hoping to get more money and we were mildly successful. Denny, do you know what our position is at this point? I know it, I think it assumes our $5,000 help. But we also have kind of decided that next year it might not be worthwhile to have Canada Day on Canada Day. I can go.
It hasn't changed from financials that were attributed last week.
Okay.
Other than I think maybe. But everything. I'm trying to open it on my computer here, but
I think leftover is healthy, right? If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's healthy pending.
We were thinking of changing things up for next year too, so it's hard for us to kind of figure out. What we will need, so. I'd be all right with staying with the same 7,500.
I'll be quite honest, that's where I'm leaning towards as well as the 7,500, because there's a few things later that. May affect that, so I would just rather, I guess, still stay with the same. The council was gracious enough to allow that, so no harm in asking. That's my thought for 7,500. Yeah, there's a few different things that'll be taking place next year, mainly Canada Day probably is a big one we're thinking of, right? So there'll be a little bit added expense there in that one. Someone wanna have a discussion on that then 7,500, which is where we were this year.
And based on what we know, 7,500 probably the way to go right now.
Well, no, even 20.
What do you say, 12,900? 12,900, 13,000.
And that 12,000, almost 13,000 assumes that we have the full $5,000 in.
assumes that you had the 5,000.
I think given that, we could probably do 7,500, because even if we had to pay for Canada Day out of pocket next year, we would still have enough.
So you're envisioning rides and that kind of thing for Canada Day, other than Canada Day?
That's the top one to answer. But because we'd be asking really early in the year, it's a possibility, but. It may be a remote possibility, but, you know,
We could also look at potentially, like the picnics in the park are always so close together. We could look at potentially just doing one bigger one and alternating the location every year, rather than doing two so close together,
well, that was a discussion last year.
which would save us a little bit on budget as well.
The food for thought suggestion, if you're looking to adjust it. Would it be something this committee would want to do is talk to the optimists and the ladies that organize the Kanaki Summer Send Off? And make that into a bigger fall event for the up north kind of area? and join in on that instead of doing this in the spring.
Good idea.
You already have a big event here in Christmas time for Wyoming, and it's probably not a great idea to move that because you've established it here. But for Canada Day, move that to up north. So then you have picnic in the park in Wyoming. You have Christmas here in Wyoming. You have Canada Day in up north, whichever park you choose. And then you have the Kamalaki Summer Send Off with the Optimist and with the Summer Send Off ladies. And that way you're kind of bringing 4 very big events, which you can kind of concentrate all your effort in. And it might, and you have more partners in doing that as well. Not a bad idea.
I like the idea of joining in on summer send off.
You
Because
may
there's
not
the
be
2
the driving body, you might be a supporting body in that situation.
That's great.
That's
Yeah.
okay too. Yeah.
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 Like, what can we do that you would like to see kind of thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing with summer send off is there really isn't a ton of space for anything that's really like, I mean, by the time you have all the vendors there, they had 2 bouncy houses and some food. But a lot of that extra area was used for parking, where we had like the fire trucks and all that kind of stuff.
You've got the 2 parks across the road from each other, so.
That was also used for parking.
They still have the back soccer fields though.
Yeah,
Yeah, Lakeshore Park and Lamberton Park have a lot of room, so we could definitely expand it if needed.
Summer send off always the same as the fair weekend.
That's, I think, a discussion that the town may want to have with the summer send off and to see if we can adjust it, because they usually want it to be on the day that last day of summer, or last weekend of summer, which usually was like, I think what it was, the 2nd or 3rd weekend, and then this year it ended up being a bit later, so I think that needs to be looked at too, so that we're not fighting our 2 larger local events against each other by accident.
Yeah. The other thing is summer send off is money fundraising for the Optimist Golf.
Anything we could do to complement that would bring more people out. Definitely something to look at for sure. I never thought of that aspect of it, but I know we did talk about maybe getting rid of one of the 2 or amalgamating the park events, and it may just be the opportunity that we're looking for. So we'll definitely we'll get talking to the right people, I think, and see how that's gonna work. So Gord, you had mentioned then 7,500. Evidently, you have a move by Gordon McKenzie here. Is that
Okay. Yeah, put 75.
okay? And a seconded by Mike Nagel. So that the Special Events Committee requests council allocate 7,500 during 2024 budget deliberations for the Special Events Committee 2024 events. Any further suggestions, discussions, changes? More or less, no? All in favor? Carried. Moving on, 6.2, 2024 event special committee calendar. Is in front of you there for our meeting dates. I'm assuming they're still the same. Just as an FYI. Correspondence, none. Yep.
The motion for the events calendar.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
Put my calendar.
So moved by Mike Nagel, seconded by Brenda Moulton, that the Special Events Committee approve the 2024 event Special Events Committee meeting dates, and that the approved meeting dates be forwarded on to the town clerk for inclusion in the 2024 council and committee calendar. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Sorry, Denny, I did have my pages out of order.
That's why he's there to keep us in front line.
Betcha. New business, 2024 events, couple things we just talked about tonight, looking at the picnic in the park. Whether it's two, whether it's amalgamated. The Canada Day event. How that's going to turn out this year. Christian Village obviously is gonna still continue. Hopefully this year the weather will be much more conducive to having movie nights, because it was not a great movie night summer this year. I think that's all we really quickly talked about quite a while ago on 2024 events. We just hadn't had an awful lot of time to think about any new things, but that will pop up, I'm sure, in time. Is that it then, Danny, for the regular? I believe so. So. I guess, thank you to anyone online that's joined us. I'm not sure if anyone has or not, but we'll now move into a closed meeting session. You off then, Denny?
Yeah, there was a motion for that.
Nope. The last one I have is the adjournment one.
Okay, I'll print it after. We just basically need a mover and a secondary to go into closed.